You know that moment when you think you've got the upper hand, chaining up someone's family legacy like it's just another business deal. But turns out the guy you're messing with holds the deed to your entire empire, making you nothing more than a squatter on his land. Yeah, that's how it all went down for me, standing there in the early morning fog, watching this high society diva in her designer outfit snap a lock on the gate my grandpa hammered together decades ago, her hum echoing like some dark victory tune, and me, Marcus Hawthorne, just sipping my coffee, feeling that slow burn of rage mix with the quiet satisfaction of knowing I had a bomb waiting to drop. The mist clinging to the trees like forgotten memories, each click of the padlocks stirring up ghosts of my family's sweat and dreams poured into this ground. It was barely dawn in the Virginia mountains, the kind of crisp air that bites at your skin but reminds you why you fight for places like this, sharp and alive with the scent of damp earth and pine needles underfoot. And there she was, Victoria Langford, this corporate heiress who'd made her millions off painkillers that hooked half the country, strutting around like she owned the world, which in her mind she did. But oh, how wrong she was, because what she didn't know was that my family's Oakwood Haven campsite wasn't just a patch of dirt. It was 900 acres of history, with crystal-clear lake views where the water sparkled like diamonds under the sun, ancient forests that whispered secrets from centuries past, trails winding through thick underbrush where deer paused to watch you pass, and buried rights that stretched miles underground, rights my grandfather had locked in back in '52 for a steal, thinking ahead in ways that would one day turn the tables on predators like her. His old ledger still tucked in the cabin drawer, yellowed pages detailing every boundary stake he drove himself. I run this place now, third in line after my dad poured his soul into it for 4 decades, turning it into a sanctuary where families returned year after year, kids splashing in the shallows catching their first trout, the thrill in their eyes as the line tugged, parents rediscovering silence away from the city's roar, sitting by fires sharing stories that bridged generations. And when Dad passed from that sudden heart attack in 2019, it wasn't just land I inherited, it was the echo of joy, bouncing off the water, the weight of keeping that alive for my 16-year-old daughter Sophia, who dreams of marine biology. This whole spread her playground and classroom rolled into one, the spot where I asked Emily to marry me under that twisted willow dipping toward the moonlit dock. Emily, who battled leukemia with a fire that shamed my own tours in Iraq, her laughter echoing in my mind during those long chemo nights. And when she slipped away 2 years back, we laid her to rest beside my great-grandpa, who'd carved these cabins from raw timber, every splinter a testament to grit, the soil there rich with roots that seemed to hold our family's story tight. But reality hits hard. Maintaining 900 acres means bleeding cash, taxes chewing up 20 grand a year, repairs on everything from leaky roofs to finicky well pumps that always quit in the dead of night during busy weekends. The frustration of flashlight fixes while guests slept unaware, we scraped by on reservation fees, barely breaking even. And that's when Victoria slithered in, back in 2018, snapping up control of Riverside Manor Residences, this glossy enclave of 50 megahomes, each fetching $1 million or more. With their exclusive yacht club and a rulebook thick enough to prop up a door, her fortune stained from those opioid payouts, a moral vacuum if ever there was one, her arrival like a storm cloud over our peaceful valley. She first showed her face in spring 2023, perching at my rickety bench like a hawk eyeing prey, the campfire's smoky tendrils clashing with her overpowering scent, something floral trying to choke out the pine, her polished fingers tapping impatiently as she lectured me like a child, our weekend bonfires disrupting her elite crowd's peace. The loyal families we'd hosted for generations now labeled as riffraff clashing with their polished vibe, she actually cooed about how it might be best if I wound down operations by fall, framing it as elevating the neighborhood standards, her voice dripping with false sympathy that made my skin crawl. And when I suggested compromises like stricter quiet times or joint lake cleanups, she just smirked, murmuring something about seeing how things play out, her luxury sedan crunching away on the gravel, that grin promising trouble, the kind that cats flash before the pounce. Little did I know she wasn't just aiming to annoy, she was plotting to seize it all, paperwork already in motion, her shadow lingering in the air like a bad omen. By fall 2023, She unleashed her arsenal, a barrage of petty strikes meant to bleed me dry, starting with fabricated noise violations to the county, then tipping off health inspectors about phantom plumbing issues, fire safety folks probing our wiring, each hit costing hundreds in fees and checks that proved us spotless. But she was crafting a tale, whispering at her club gatherings about how our site drew shady types, transients threatening their idol, painting us as a den of vice instead of a haven for stargazing families, her words spreading like wildfire through social circles I wasn't part of. She was calculated, I'll admit, but she overlooked one thing: a war vet with idle time and a kid who'd got her mom's fierce spirit, the kind that turned quiet determination into unbreakable resolve. Sophia dove into Victoria's past for a class assignment on community influencers, uncovering how her wealth stemmed from profiting off addictions, her rushed builds skimping on eco-reviews like dodging homework, late nights poring over online archives with a focus that mirrored Emily's during her research binges, and digging further, their yacht club lacked proper waste permits. Their drainage poisoned our shared Crystal Lake with unchecked silt, wetlands bulldozed without a nod from feds. Every accusation she lobbed at us, her own setup was guilty of tenfold. So I flipped the script, lodging reports with authorities, arming them with snaps, samples, proof that'd delight any auditor, the satisfaction of turning her weapons back on her growing with each filed form. That's when a county checker, a solid fellow named Garcia, tipped me off after logging their spills, murmuring about Victoria's hefty donation to Commissioner Ellis's campaign, the very one who'd greased her permits back in 18, now hounding my operation while winking at hers. That old battlefield gut kicked in, realizing this wasn't just a foe, it was a rigged game, the injustice boiling under my calm exterior. Sophia caught me pacing the veranda that night, puffing smokes like air, gazing at the lake where Emily used to skim rocks, the water's gentle lap a reminder of lost peace, and she echoed her mom's wisdom, saying when foes play foul, you outsmart them, no need to stoop, and damn if that didn't light the fire, reigniting my resolve like a spark in dry tinder. A fortnight later, she rolled up with a mapping team, hard hats staking my drive like invaders. I strolled over, demanding papers, and they mumbled about her claiming ownership, phone out recording as her ride screeched in, dust flying, her beam predatory, babbling about a minor barrier project on what she deemed hers. I countered with decades of maps proving otherwise, her crew scrambling like scolded pups, and as she peeled out, she hissed about savoring my spot while it lasted, winter, looming like a threat, her words hanging heavy, but fueling my quiet plan. Come January 2024, snow blanketing the hills, silence heavy, she escalated to claiming sole rights over Crystal Lake, papers slapping my door on a frigid morn, her HOA demanding a ban on my visitors' access, with guards patrolling shores like Border Watch, the press parroting her spin about safeguarding purity from my pollution. As if my campers were toxic spills instead of folks teaching kids to bait hooks, the betrayal stinging like frostbite, but small-town law dogs like Harold Jenkins, who'd sorted my dad's will, chuckled over her claim, magnifying glass on that ancient deed, revealing my kin had snapped up every drop, every shore inch, not shared, total dominion, his office filled with the musty smell of old paper that held our salvation. In water law, old riparian claims crushed newcomers, deeds trumping flash, while Harold drafted our rebuttal. Sophia's club turned sleuths, sampling lake points, exposing their build scars, erosion carving banks, unfiltered storms dumping grime, their waste seeping like venom, the kids' excitement turning serious as data piled up. Guards they posted were laughable, retirees more keen on reels than rifles. One ex-soldier named Martinez confided they'd been ordered to sabotage my gear near the water. I slipped him my digits, offering honest work anytime, his honesty a rare light in the growing shadows. He started funneling pics of her hush-hush meets with officials, plotting to grab my land via public seizure, reeking of graft. Sophia's tests confirmed our side pristine. There's a mess, 70 years of care versus their hasty greed. But Victoria ramped up, rallying a worried locals forum, her slides twisting stats to vilify us. I crashed with my dossier, countering her value drops with our mag shout-out boosting prices 25%. The room hushed as her pointer trembled, her math as faulty as her morals. the tension thick enough to cut. Harold was gearing our suit when Martinez dropped intel that flipped the board. March 2024 stormed in, and Victoria shed all masks. If red tape and lake grabs failed, she'd just barricade my lifeline, daring a showdown. That dawn I spotted it. A gleaming fence across my path, sign blaring, Riverside Manor only, guards shooing arrivals, her poised by her ride, arms folded, smirk triumphant, cooing about flow control on her alleged turf. But she'd never truly mapped. Assuming gloss trumped grit, huge error, the site igniting a firestorm of memories, Grandpa's stories of defending this land from loggers, Dad's quiet battles with developers. Now my turn to hold the line. When Harold heard, he didn't stop at my files. He ordered a precision scan that had a survey pros, and what surfaced was gold. Not only my road clear, but their main artery sliced through a 60-foot strip my grandpa never seeded. I could seal them anytime. The revelation hitting like a thunderclap. But the kicker? Sophia's digs into Victoria's empire revealed she fronted Highland Resources Group, a cabal snapping rural plots across counties for gas fracking, not values at stake, but forcing sales for underground hauls, her web of companies unraveling in public records like a poorly tied knot. The records clerk, an old pal of Dad's named Betty, whispered confirmations, Victoria sniffing subsurface claims around mine, geologists swarming like ants on a picnic. It clicked. Her siege was profit-driven, eyeing my acres for cheap flip, blind to Grandpa's deed, clutching minerals 2 miles round. Every lot she peddled, every mansion, every vein they eyed, mine by right. I was her landlord without her knowing. The irony twisting in my gut like a knife, mixing triumph with the sorrow of what she'd nearly destroyed. At the barrier clash, she arrived with a deputy and bolt cutter, flaunting a fake order. The officer Thompson, a vet like me, shifted uneasy, urging compliance. I scanned, calling bluff on the unapproved plea, her snapping ignore him. But I flashed my survey, Thompson pouring over, her hue shifting stormy, her cutter frozen, him ruling my dock solid. Can't aid her blockade, her retreat furious, and I let her stew, thinking victory hers. Best traps self-dug, the gravel dust settling as I plotted. Next moves in the quiet cabin, maps spread under lamplight. April 2024 bloomed, rains feeding growth, Harold unearthing gems in dusty tomes. That faded 52 script held a gem, encompassing all subsurface claims and appurtenances within 2 miles. Half the region underground ours, including her sprawl. The office spun as truth sank, her empire atop my trove. Sophia linking her pharma-front to the group's land grabs, harassing holds for resale. $2.5 million sunk in probes, partners ponying $18 million for rigs, all hinged on rights they lacked. The scale of her deception unfolding like a nightmare I was finally waking from. Minerals split from surface, own dirt but not depths. Lesson. Vet below before dreaming riches. We sat on $60 to $90 million over decades, scraping taxes while fortune slept. Irony poetic. Her seeing me as bumpkin, me holding her doom. That eve at Emily's marker, lake aglow, I mused Grandpa's cunning. Chess master amid checkers, the stars above seeming to nod in agreement. A quiet communion with the past that steeled me for war. Time to rally forces. Sophia's club, our eco scouts. Months of data now arsenal against her violations. Snaps of marsh fills, habitat wrecks, runoff horrors. Her mom's precision in every frame. The teens debating findings late into nights, bonds forming over shared purpose. Then my vet pals, Martinez ditching her for us, his snaps of bribes golden, Harold quarterbacking law, relishing the fray like youth returned. We snagged Walter Brooks, retired tax sleuth camping here yearly, his charts, exposing her veils, offshore hides, fraud webs violating transparency. Each thread pulled revealing more rot. Research surged, club mapping the radius, logging taints, forcing her proof she hadn't, cams ringing our bounds like vaults, spotting intruders, nugget. Shells must bear owner's post. 2021, trail money against core, community swelled, my guard Oakwood, rally jamming halls, greens, historians, biz folk uniting versus outsider greed. I rallied. This fight for our fate, not mine alone, voices rising in unison, a chorus against the storm. Social buzz ignited. Preserve Crystal viral. Sophia's contrast shaming her mess. Timing key for summer peak. Media primed. Paul's attending. Enviros rallying. Late nights in Harold's den like war rooms. Coffee and leather fueling plans to crush with impact. Strategies sharpening like blades in the dim light. May 2024 warmed. Her group bleeding funds. Probes looming. Desperation breeding sabotage. Pump fried costing thousands. Road gouged by stray machines. Complaints avalanche. But our eyes caught all. Footage nailing her crew clipping wires. Oil dumps framing us. Martinez IDing perps. Evidence to state fraud squad. Tying to wider scams. The thrill of catching them red-handed mixing with the weariness of constant vigilance. Her fatal slip. Buyout bid. Rolling up sunny morn. Envelope bulging. Sweet-talking and misunderstand. Offering $2.2 million. Double value. Jobs bait. My recorder rolling from Intel days. Her spilling on energy promise. Partners invested. Needing co-op. I probed. Her denying bribes. Sabotage. But color fled at my list. Ella's payoffs. Rushes. Damages. Her whisper turning threat. Problems worsen sans reason. The air thick with her desperation. She crossed to extortion. My tape legal in one consent state. Nugget. Record convos if party. Docs your shield. Post apart. I looped Harold and AG. Her admissions Rico fuel. Walter's digs exposing launders. Agencies circling. Sophia bursting with news of state probe using our data. Sunset vigil sealing resolve. Her gift my detonator. The horizon painted in hues of impending justice. June 2024 peaked. Her bleeding timelines. Playing politics. Governor flags on my threats. Irony choking. State audit announced with fanfare. Inspector Davidson conflicted. Stocks in drillers. Past consults for her. Trap set. But I prepped showcase. Anticipating every angle like a chess grandmaster. He arrived to rigged bust. Met our lab. Stations. Demos. Habitats pristine. Exceeding codes. I welcomed. Hiding AG observers. Enviros. His tremor as watchers noted. Sophia presenting thesis-like. Data nailing her pollutes. Folder bombarding proofs. Him stammering. Then my deed drop. Minerals mine. His pallor nuclear. AG grilling his ties. The room shifting from inspection to interrogation. Inspection flipped to crime probe. Seizing her files. Media frenzy. Victoria panicking amid cams. Screeching witch hunt. Investigator citing tapes. Funds. That eve Sophia and I docked. News blazing her exposure. Justice for Oakwood. Trending. Tomorrow's hearing epic. The weight lifting as victory neared. July 15th, 2024. The reckoning dawned. Chamber crammed. Media swarming. Greens bussing crowds. Signs blasting core. AG and Fed's front row. AC failing against fury. Victoria tardy with pricey suits. Poised like unscathed. Chairman Bradley gaveling hush. Addressing permits. Enviro lapses. I rose with deed. Harold passing like relic. Sophia at flank with proofs. The air electric with anticipation built over months of hidden battles. Commissioners, 72 years stewardship here. Exceeding regs. Contrast her havoc. Screen flaring Sophia's splits. Dumps. Taints. Rex gasping crowd. Victoria interrupting legitimate biz. Jobs. Taxes. My grin as tape rolled. Her voice damning payoffs. Threats. Silence thunderous. Her out-of-context wail cracking. The chamber holding its breath as her facade crumbled. Fed Morrison rising. Questions on racketeering. But climax. Harold's reveal. My rights engulfing her spread. Eruption chaotic. Her masks cycling. Attorney pleading delay. Me retorting 70 years plenty. Filed true. Her scheme on my depths. A.G. Williams arresting for plots. Bribes. Crimes. Cuffs snapping symphonic. Permits yanked. Referrals federal. Ovation roaring. The sound washing over me like a wave of vindication. August 2024 chilled justice suite. Victoria pleading to racketeering. Bribes. Enviro sins. 20 months club fed. $3 million fines. Group crumbling. Partners snitching. $22 million lost on doomed ploy since 52. Davidson 3 years bribes. Falsies. Ellis quitting amid trails. Roaches fleeing light. The cleanup feeling like exhaling after holding breath too long. But hearts win. Rights Cash birthed Emily's Eco Hub. Sophia's lab. Exhibits teaching green. Site sustainable model. Interactive trails where visitors learned about ecosystems hands-on. Sophia, to Virginia Tech Enviro Law full ride from project. Her eyes shining with purpose forged in fire. Herald retiring legend. Ovations at eateries. Oakwood Foundation $6 million for restores, scholarships, fests. Even new Riverside heads apologizing, joining gardens, projects, healing post-tumor, neighbors. Sharing barbecues where old grudges dissolved. Precedent law school staple. Oakwood Law, mandating rights disclosure pre-permits. Feds templating versus grabs. Nugget. 60 deeds pack surprises. Assume not on quiet folks holds. Mornings now coffee docked. Planting greens. Watching Sophia's pupils sample. Lake Purist. Wildlife booming. Families flocking for proof biz spares beauty. The Serenity, a hard-won prize. Doc crew wrapped our tale for Anti-Corpse series. Sophia aiding kin versus drillers. Peak. Urban Kids Camp. Girl querying clear depths. Sophia echoing Emily. Threats reveal strength. The cycle of legacy continuing unbroken. And that's how it wrapped. A family legacy not just saved, but fortified. Proving that when injustice strikes at your heart, at the bonds that tie you to the land and loved ones, standing firm with truth can topple empires built on greed and lies. Closure coming in the quiet ripple of the lake at dawn. Knowing we've honored the past while securing the future, the mountains standing sentinel as they always have. But tell me, was this revenge justified? Or does turning the tables make you no better than the bully? Where do you draw the line on justice, on fighting back when everything's at stake? And what would you do if a powerhouse like her came for your slice of home?